Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Mr. Made for TV, Tully Bertorelli, and I'm drinking at Moe's.
This is Drinkin at Moe's, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and lucha libre, it's also mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin at Moe's, where we don't quit. Drinkin at Moe's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, know it's a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody, welcome Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill by now. YouTube, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Because YouTube's algorithm is a pain in the ass. We are most places to find audio podcasts too. Today, I'm excited to have with me, starting off some of my stuff, going for Fantastic League of Wrestling. Tully, I'm leaving it at Tully because that last name, if I say it,
just say it.
Fast,
let me hear you say it real quick. Just give it a shot. Pronounce it for me.
Tully but damn it.
Okay, I'm going to help you out real quick. Bertorelli.
Bertorelli. Okay. Tully Bertorelli. All right. Sweet. I always feel awkward when I'm feeling like I'm about to mispronounce somebody's name that I'm like, shit.
It's not Scapoli, it's not Bertoli, it's not Bernelli, it's Bertorelli.
That is Bertorelli, because that is where I get tongue-tied there, because I always, for some reason, start thinking I'm going to say it right, but then somewhere between my head and getting it out my mouth, I start thinking I'm about to say Bertoli, and I'm like, shit.
I usually joke with people and say that's my cousin who stole our pasta's recipe and then ran off and changed the name. But no relation.
That's funny. Well, all right, so before we get into too deep here, and I get into tangents sometimes, the first thing I like to start off with everybody with is what got you started as a fan, and then what got you deciding to make the leap into the business.
So when I was first introduced to pro wrestling. This is pretty funny when I talk about it because I've talked about it before. I was first introduced to wrestling with like Hulk Hogan, but not wrestling, but when he was an actor. So like I was introduced to like Thunder in Paradise, Suburban Commando, Mr. Nanny, and I remember growing up and like transferring grade schools, and they were talking about wrestling, and I remember I would rent video games. Like I knew what WrestleFest was, the arcade game was, and so I knew who those guys were, but I never really watched it. And then I remember like my friends had a Nintendo 64 and we played WCW NWO World Tour. So I remember playing as Paco Loco, who was super crazy. I later found out, against the NWO. So I knew who Kevin Nash was. I knew who Six was. I knew who Scott Hall was, playing those games. And then I remember I played Warzone, and I went to a new grade school and they were talking about wrestling. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, I remember Bret Hart and No Hart in a steel cage match, but like I never watched that. I played that in a video game. So I lied my way into liking wrestling. And I just remember like before, And then I remember like watching on TV. I remember my first vivid memory of wrestling was when um, Mick Foley became Cactus Jack and called out Triple H for the Rumble.
Yeah.
And I was like memorized by this because before this, I either wanted to be Chris Farley or Batman or Indiana Jones in life.
Matt Foley, and
Matt Foley, what are you doing in your life? But yeah, and so basically I was just memorized by it, and then I remember getting like this like WWF WrestleMania magazine, like that like highlight all the WrestleManias, like WrestleMania up to 17, and it showed this stuff back then. So I like learned about like back in the day of wrestling with like, you know, Ric Flair versus Savage at WrestleMania and stuff like that. And like the internet was new, so I was always searching stuff. And then by the time I hit probably 12, that's what I wanted to do. And so I remember telling my aunties and uncles from the UK and my family that like that's what I want to do. I want to be a wrestler. And I remember like researching wrestling schools. I remember one time when I was like 14, I called up Dory Funk Conservatory once, and the next day, Dory Funk's wife called back and talked to my mom on the phone. I didn't get to train with the Funks. I remember that was just a cool time. I remember in the UK, my auntie found the FWA. I forgot what that stand for, but I know that like Paul Burchill was a trainer there, and like Wade Barrett, Sheamus. That was that school. And like my mom didn't want me to be a wrestler, but then I remember always talking to wrestlers like in social media stuff. And like I remember like I found a league in Chicago called World Wrestling Zone, and I print out the directions off MapQuest, which a lot of people don't know what MapQuest is to this day.
Oh, God.
I have to explain to people what it is.
Oh, yeah. When I was stationed in San Diego, anytime I went up to one of the promotions that got me started watching independent wrestling was up in Oceanside. So I would, you know, go from San Diego at the naval base. I'd print off the MapQuest directions to drive me up to the Boys and Girls Club up in Oceanside.
I always explain to people MapQuest was the devil. Never got you quite the directions that you wanted. Kids have it so easy with directions these days. They just type it in. It's like, oh, here's the neighborhood Boys and Girls Club. But I remember I went to one of their shows, and the main event was the Road Warriors versus, at the time they were called Adrenaline and Venom. And the guy went to be developmental in WWE, but like it was really cool. But the semi-main was D-Lo. This guy named Iron Mike Sampson. And I remember I was like, at the time I was 15 turning 16. At the time I had long hair, and I was like, oh man, this is so cool. But when I was trying to find the school, I couldn't find it. So then I kept on bugging Windy City Pro Wrestling, which was owned by Sam DeCiro in Chicago. And then he sent me a flyer for a fantasy camp, and I tried out for 2006. I couldn't commit, but then I remember AWA Slam, which was a branch off the Chicago thing. They were looking for there was a Colt Cabana seminar for like $50 back then. I was like, oh, this is cool. And like I went to check out that school, but I couldn't commit because I was playing college football. So by the time I got back when I was 20, I kept in touch with some of the trainers, and I just got trained by Steve Boz out there, like on and off every summer when I was in school, and then soon to be 37, so on and off now, almost 17 years.
Nice. That's a nice career there so far. I know. Yeah, like I said, independent wise, I ended up getting started kind of late because I had only ever heard of different smaller stuff in my area, but at the time, didn't really have the money to be driving multiple hours to different places. And
oh yeah, I mean, I was introduced. So when I was in high school, I had mainstream wrestling, but my friend got me into indie wrestling. So he got me into Combat Zone Wrestling, IWA Mid-South. But like, it's crazy now watching the stuff, the guys now that are on TV. Those were the guys that were back then that are just killing it.
Oh yeah, like you see a lot of the guys out there, and you know, hell, everybody from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, El Generico, and
Seth
you know,
Rollins.
Seth Rollins, and just so many guys out there. Hell, AJ Styles, even. I actually got to meet him once here in Omaha. It was like right in between when he left TNA and went to New Japan.
Yeah.
He did a handful of indie dates. One of them happened to be here in Omaha. I got him to sign a TNA Lockdown DVD cover, and I remember specifically him telling me, God, I hated those fucking matches.
Yeah.
It was funny. But yeah, like you said, independent wise, yeah, I got started kind of late, but hell, I've had multiple people from some of those promotions on, a bunch of their friends on, a bunch of the guys they've recommended. The two areas that I love to, highlight in particular have always seemed to be, here local to me and then out there around California, but shit, everywhere. I've had New Japan. I've had people that are now in, AEW and Ring of Honor, like former Ring of Honor 6-man tag champ Dutch.
Nice.
Billy Starks. That was fun. And I didn't get to have this guy on, but I did get to meet him. And looking up here, up top, I have a bunch of my autograph figures, but one of them happened to be from the WWF show that was my first ever one back in like third grade. Rikishi, when he was Head Shrinker Fatu.
Oh, wow.
I got to tell him about him being in my first ever one. And
yeah, you always have that memory, man. I mean, like, that's the thing that people forget about pro wrestling. It's the memories that matter to you. Like, you can remember, like, I mean, people remember the character, the persona, more than the match. I always explain that to everybody that, like, if you can have like a 5-star Dave Meltzer match, but really the people that really remember wrestling are the people that like remember the characters. Like, I remember when Chris Jericho pissed in William Regal's cup on SmackDown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember, when La Resistance was a thing. I remember, just all that stuff. But like, my thing is this, like, when people ask me like what I like to watch, I just like watching stuff from back then, like 70s, 80s, early 90s wrestling, just because it's just, in my opinion, that was like the best time. But now wrestling is so universal that like it's insane now, especially with like independent promotions and like with stuff like podcasting and like streaming services and all that stuff. Like, I didn't think when I was getting myself into what it is now.
Yeah. It's crazy. Just the sheer amount of content out there.
Yeah. I compare wrestling to like ice cream.
That's one that I often hear about.
Yeah. WWE's very vanilla ice cream. AEW's chocolate ice cream. TNA is like strawberry ice cream. You can have the Neapolitan if you want to. But like the independent promotions, like Fantastic Leagues of Wrestling, is very like, like Moose Tracks. But it's just very interesting to just see how the guys who are indie guys like myself can have a platform where a guy like you in Omaha, Nebraska can see my match. A guy from Germany can see my match. A guy from like Birmingham, England can see my match. A guy from Sydney, Australia can watch my match. Like, it's really insane of how much further we can go. It's like I mean, back in the day, I never did it because I was too young, but I remember people tape trade back in the day.
Yeah, I never got too into that. I was more running to the wrestling section anytime I went to the local video store and renting.
Same thing. Like WrestleMania 5 or like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Or Fully Loaded 98.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, all the time. And before we go into Fantastic League Wrestling, because I mean they got their new season coming up that I do want to talk about. I do like talking to people when I first have them on about how they come up with their in-ring personas, because everybody has their own way of how they kind of figure it out. And those first couple of years can be that bit of a feeling out process, what's gonna stick and all that. How did you come up with yours?
Well, it's funny that you say stick. I used to always like try new things out. I was more like a chef in the sense of like I try to like throw spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticked. And I've gone through so many monikers. I can go down the list if you want me to, but I remember one time John was starting this up, and I asked John like, "Well, what like do you want the?" Because I used to be called the 11th one of the world, Tully, and John was like, "Nah, man, I don't want you to be that. I want you to be something different." I'm like, "Well, what do you think?" He's like, "Well, I think you should be yourself." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'll be Tully Bertorelli." He's like, "No, but I think you should be Mr. Made for TV, Tully Bertorelli." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, let me ask you this: how many guys have been on those shows that you worked on? Because as you know, and I know the viewers haven't heard this yet, but I've worked in television and film as either an actor or a stunt performer or stuff like that." And he's like, "Who gets to say they've been on Chicago PD? Who says they get to be on Empire? Who gets to say they've been on Fargo? Who gets to say they were on Power Book Force? Who gets to say they were in a movie with Madman Fulton called Weekend Deadaway?" Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay. So like I got the name Mr. Made for TV Tully Bertorelli. So I was thinking to myself, okay, what's the character? And I swear to God, I was watching The Simpsons one day, and all of a sudden, Troy McClure hops on TV,
Yeah.
and he says, "Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might have seen me in such movies as Gone with the Wind and Planet of the Apes 2, The Reckoning." And I'm like, "Hi, I'm Mr. Made for TV, Tully Bertorelli. You might have seen me on such shows as Chicago PD, Empire, and Fargo. And now what I'm going to talk to you about tonight." And it just stuck with me. And I was like, okay. And so when people always ask me, how did I get my character? I think Phil Hartman played Troy McClure on The Simpsons.
Oh man, the Simpsons fan in me just like popped huge when you mentioned that. Like,
Yeah.
although even funnier, somebody that I believe I saw you on something of his, Matt Nix. I
Yeah.
I saw I had him on, and he said when he first heard about the name, he popped because he was thinking Moe's Tavern. And I'm like, you know what? I knew somebody was gonna get that.
Yeah. I just hung out with Nick the other day. He's a good kid. I've known that kid since he started, actually.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh man. I was just the other like recently watching some older episodes, including the one where Troy McClure married Selma, or God, was my favorite, the one that offered me my favorite moment ever, the one where Sideshow Bob was threatening to blow up Springfield from the air show, and he was hiding in the blimp.
Oh, yeah.
And they start going through all, they're clearing everybody. They're going through the base. They get to that line of porta potties, and then they get to the one, they open it. There's Grandpa Simpson. He's like,
my favorite Simpsons episodes are, to name offhand, some of them are Shelbyville versus Springfield
yeah.
with the lemon tree.
Yeah.
The army crew that Abe was in with Mr. Burns, the bones.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're called.
I forget what they're called, but I do remember somewhere it was like the whole stolen treasure thing where
yeah.
yeah.
And then Itchy and Scratchy Land, where like the robots take over.
Oh
I've
yeah.
always loved the Treehouse Horror episodes.
Oh, those are epic.
Yeah.
Those are the one where they thought Bart was a conjoined twin.
Oh yeah, with the fish heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, some great stuff. Like, oh god, I'm now getting to rewatch some of them while holding my son, which is just me. I know that he's not getting any of it right now, but
but it's the nostalgia factor, man. I mean, think about it. It's just the nostalgia factor. They've been around for so long. I mean, their new episodes are okay. I haven't watched a lot of their new episodes, but it's so crazy how iconic they are. I mean, like, to this day, you see a donut, you think Homer Simpson,
Oh God! Every time I see a donut, I'm always donut. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Like or I like to say cowabunga, El Barto,
That, or I find myself randomly quoting Ralph Wiggum every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
My dad says I'm this close to sleeping in the yard.
I'm lonely. I'm your best friend. Yeah.
I'm in danger. Or the movie where Bart's getting dared to skate down to Krusty Burger naked. He passes by Ralph, and Ralph's like, I like men now.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What underrated freaking character right there. But anyways, Fantastic League of Wrestling. Can't forget there. Like I said, I get on some tangents on this damn show.
Oh, it's all good, man.
But Fantastic League of Wrestling, they got the new season coming up. I'm excited to be podcast partner there. And, I've already got a handful of talent coming on the show. I'm looking forward to, in particular, a talent he's bringing in from the UK, Tommy Gunn. That one's going to be fun. I don't have that one scheduled yet, but I was told he's down for it. So, nice. But what are you looking forward to with this new season? And your involvement in it so far? Is this relatively new?
For me?
Yeah.
I was in the first season, so I'm just excited to see what opportunity awaits for me and everything like that. I know that Mr. Bullard has an eye for talent all over, and they look like killers more than ever. So I have to up my game. I mean, you're talking to a guy that is in the gym, like all the time. I only give myself legit 2 days off when I work out. So I work out 5 days a week, plus that with a wrestling show. But yeah. So I have to up that cardio game with a lot of those guys he's bringing in. But no, I'm just really excited to see what the season comes, with Tommy Gunn from the UK. Also, John has that one guy. I mean, do you have the roster offhand that you're looking at?
I don't have the entire roster. I know he's partnering with promotions from obviously UK. There's Mexico, Japan. That there's going to be people coming in from all of those. I can probably
and that's what's really cool about. I'm excited for Flow too. Is Mr. John Bullard's bringing guys in from the UK, Mexico, and Japan to come into the American style of Flow and everything like that. And it's just really cool that we as a performer get to have that opportunity to work with those guys and wrestle those guys.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. I've talked to people that have wrestled all over the world, and I've always been curious how those language barriers that might come up, because I've heard stories of different people from Japan coming over, and an obvious language barriers. There some broken English maybe, but it always seems to have a way of working out. That language of wrestling, as I hear it called a lot.
Yeah, the language of wrestling is very interesting in the sense of you can definitely work around the language barrier, because we're in a contest of combat. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So like we, you know, they could say like, you know, clothesline or mimic clothesline or like lock up or anything like that. And I never had to work with anybody with a language barrier. I got to meet some people that are from Japan and everything like that, and like Mexico and everything like that. So I know a little bit of Spanish, but not like enough to have a conversation, like not to like, you know, have a match with them. But no, I just think it's really cool the opportunities that a lot of these guys are coming to Flow, and then also our guys going out there to represent Flow, which is a huge opportunity.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's guys that are going from here in the States over to, I know before he leaves, I'm actually talking with one of the roster. The name is escaping me right now, but he's actually going over to Japan.
Are you talking about Zach Abstract?
That might be it, yes.
Yeah. Zach Abstract is I was going to say right off the bat, if anyone has never checked out Zach Abstract, he is a hidden gem in the world independent level. I will put it this way. In 5-10 years, you will see that guy on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, yeah. No, and, you know, okay, before I go into more Fantastically Wrestling, when you brought up that in particular, you know, I've had times where, you know, as a fan, WWE product, and, you know, you hear people talking about, oh, this person should be, you know, go to WWE, or if they're already somewhere else on national TV, oh, they should be in. And then for a while, I felt like kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
But now, the way, like, I don't know, Triple H, the way he's doing his thing there right now, there's something different that it just seems to be running a lot smoother, I guess, for the lack of a better term.
I put it this way. I feel like what it is, and I've said this before, and I'll say this again. I feel like he's just a good leader for WWE. And a lot more people want to work for him than the other guy that we would like to remain nameless.
Yeah.
But I just think he's just a good leader. I think he's a good mentor for these youngsters that are coming up. He believes in all of them. He wants them to stride. I mean, like, if you look at Triple H's career, here's a guy that was only like 1 year in the business, got signed to WCW his second year, and pretty much lied his way in saying he was experienced, and then he learned from those veterans and stuff like that. So he's just passing down the knowledge to all these guys that like he wants to have the best product. Having Shawn Michaels be like the NXT coach down there to be the producer, like, I mean, it's definitely I believe it's just making wrestling more fun again.
That,
you know?
Yes, exactly.
And with that being more fun, like, the other products will have more fun. Like TNA will have more fun. AEW will have more fun. The independents that I'm in will have more fun. Like, we always look at WWE, and if WWE is not doing so hot, we're not doing so hot.
It's weird how there's that little trickle down factor.
And I remember when I broke in, it was like around the freaking Cena era of wrestling when he was coming up. And I remember wrestling in the early 2000s, from like 2005 to 2011, was not the best for a lot of people, you know. I'm not saying the product, they were thriving, of course.
Yeah.
But like, no one liked wrestling. I remember when I would audition for stuff, people like, oh, you train in pro wrestling? Can you put me in a headlock? Can you put me in a full Nelson? I'm like, at the time, like, yeah, sure. Now I'm not doing that. I'm not your puppet. But yeah, it's I enjoy wrestling more than ever now, just because we have, like, it's so crazy to see what we have now. Like Ricky Starks debuted on NXT.
I didn't watch that last night, but I did watch it this morning. I'm like, oh damn, okay.
Yeah, like the element of surprise is back.
I know, and that hasn't been there for a while. Like, hell, I'm the type that I like watching a little bit of everything. Hell, I just found out this morning that I AEW is going to be making their debut actually in Omaha. They've been in the area, but in Omaha, and I'm actually going to be third row right by the entrance, like 2 seats away. So I'm like, fuck yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is that, like, now there's more wrestling more than ever to have the fan go into it. And also the fan can enjoy independent pro wrestling because guess what? The WWE is educating people on WWE, is educating on independent wrestling. The other day, and I forgot, I didn't hear it, but I overheard that Michael Cole talked about Shane Mercer on Raw.
That whole assault and battery, moonsault and battery thing. I think that's what it was. But yeah, I do remember hearing that, and I'm like, wait a damn minute, because for the longest time it was like, if the stuff that you did before WWE was almost like that never existed. Now,
well, they still do that. They don't mention, AEW on WWE television.
Yeah, I mean, but like direct competition.
Yeah. But the cool thing is like you said before, they never really talked about, but now they talk about more than ever. Because they don't want to erase these guys' histories. They don't want Seth Rollins just to be Seth Rollins. No, Seth Rollins was Tyler Black, in Ring of Honor, and like, Cesaro was Castagnoli, and they want people to be educated so they know what you've done it before. So when you come, like, look at Penta.
Yeah.
Like Penta coming out on like debuting on Raw against Chad Gable, which I say to this all the time. Chad Gable's the best workhorse guy. He will be WWE champion in like a couple years. He'll be world heavyweight champion.
Oh, he's definitely, workhorse is a good way to describe him for sure. And yeah, I'm loving how they're actually educating people on independent wrestling, because it lets you and the fans realize that, hey, people that I might be able to watch out there could end up being on TV.
Yeah.
Within soon. And, which I love it, because I've been at shows where people that I've seen at indie shows being extras, and then before I know
I always laugh at that when I see my buddies like Jake Painter and my buddy Sabotage Sean Logan on the last, like they were security guards last night with Gunther and Jey Uso on Raw, and I just smile when I see that, because I'm like, they're living their dreams. I'm so happy for them. Get that little spot.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I've legit been in the crowd and seeing like, wait a minute, is that who I think? And then somebody comments on social media, I'm like, no way, I knew that was them. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. And it's cool, it's really cool that they get these opportunities to do that, and it's just interesting to see what's to evolve next, But yeah, back to what you were saying, like I honestly, what we were talking about, I just think Paul Levesque, Triple H, which is very weird to call him Paul Levesque or Hunter. I always remember when I found out his real name was Paul Levesque when I was in 6th grade. I was like, what? Michael Hickenbottom, Shawn Michaels, Dwayne Johnson's The Rock, Mark Calloway's The Undertaker. What? I think what it is, it's just good leadership now.
Definitely.
And the thing is this, Titan Sports owns the WWE as well. So they want to give the best product they can, because they know that WWE is a hot product. I remember talking years ago with my friends and being like, man, I wonder what the business would be like when Vince McMahon dies. And I honestly think that will, like, that's now a thing of the past, because of how much people will still mourn. And people will also talk mad crap. I don't know if I can swear.
By all means.
Talk mad shit about the guy. Say what you will, but the guy has made the company what it is today, But, like, I just think what Triple H and Shawn Michaels and, like, The Rock with TK Sports, what they're doing is just, they're making just wrestling just more fun so the competitors can have more fun and everything like that. And the independents can have more fun and make money. Because in the end, like, pro wrestling will never die.
Yeah, I have to agree. And, the whole thing about having more fun, that's what I'm loving with, going back to Fantastic League of Wrestling. Everything that I've been watching up to now, I'm like, okay, you got the family friendly atmosphere, but it's just like everybody from the crowd to the guys out there in the ring just look like they're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
And, April 5th, which, this will air before that, but it is the start of the new season. And, they're going all throughout, Chicago area. I know there's some haven't been announced yet, but some state fairs getting lined up. And it's cool to see places getting out there like that because, state fairs, I know, hell, Iowa State Fair brings in a shit ton of people from all over.
Well, the cool thing about these like opportunities that we're getting, we just having more eyes on us with fans and everything like that. Where if more fans come in, they can buy the product. Buy the product, they can buy the merchandise and stuff like that. Everyone makes money all around, and stuff like that. That's why when you're a pro wrestler, you're a one-man rock band.
That is something I've heard before, but it's been a while. But it is kind of like that. You're driving up and down the roads. You're taking your gear and your merch with you, going different places, and merch being a big source of the money. But like you said, you get more eyes on you through state fairs, and they get their eyes there. They want to go see some other place. Boom, more money for you because they get their eyes on their favorite people. They choose their favorites. They go buy their merch and just having fun.
I remember when we did the first season at the Indian Beach Amusement Park in Indiana, and I was in the 6-man. I think we were the semi-main. When we got there, we knew that we were like, okay, like let's have fun, and everything like that. Like first time doing this is the same venue that Black Sabbath had, Sonny and Cher, the Kinks, and everything like that. So it was very iconic for us to be there as like musicians. I play music too, but it was really cool to have that. And so we decided, okay, what's if we need to have people come to our show, we got to barter. So what do we all do? We all got our gear, and I remember the effing guys and those guys and GG Jacobs. We all walked around and just advertised the show and said, "Hey, come to pro wrestling tonight. Come to pro wrestling tonight. Come to pro wrestling night." Not thinking we were going to be a full house, but it's a water park. We'll see what happens. And like no joke, we had over 400 people that night.
Nice.
And I didn't see the crowd until I walked out when the Tulkamaniacs against, the bad guy. I forgot what the bad guys' names were, but my tag team's name was the Tulkamaniacs. But it was really cool to have that energy because when you have a bigger crowd, that energy is alive and you feel off that energy. I haven't felt that in a long time. And I just always thought that was like a cool memory, with stuff.
Oh yeah. And, I know this new season, they're going to have a lot more of those opportunities coming up. And I don't know. I love it, especially in instances like that where, you're going into a venue that, people might not necessarily think pro wrestling when they go there, water parks and different stuff. But then they're like, oh, I know what that is. And then they go and they get their eyes on it. And again, all leading back to fun.
Well, and that's the thing is like, I always explain to people all the time this. Pro wrestling is that one sport, but that one entertainment where it can bring everybody. You know, you hand a band a flyer. If you have a flyer with a bunch of bands on it, it's hard to sell a band these days because everyone's picky. You know, you try to show a flyer with a stand-up comic shows, not everyone knows who the stand-up comics are. But when you see live wrestling, people turn their heads like, I remember wrestling as a kid. I wonder what this is like. Curiosity, you know, curiosity, very much so. But when they look at that flyer, like, and then like once they see it, then they're like, oh man, like this is amazing. Like I have met fans that have, you know, who have watched the Attitude Era, that have watched the glory days of wrestling to the Dick the Bruiser era. Wrestling has always been a form that just brings people together, no matter what.
That it does, and it's
because
it's a beautiful thing, especially now.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is this: it goes back to the stories of good versus evil, and everyone wants to see either the good guy win or the bad guy prevail. You know, and it's just that's what professional wrestling is. It's Camille Del Arte. It is entertainment for anybody. And the thing is this, you might not like Mr. Made for TV, but you can like Tommy Storm. You can like Trash Panda, you know, Lord Trash, you know. You can like Kenny Nine. You can have stuff like that. You can like the effing guys. But like the thing about wrestling is it's just universally just it's the one and I don't know how it brings people together, but I think it's the storytelling before good versus evil, and it's live action heroes on stage with combat.
Oh yeah, it's a very unique ability that pro wrestling has, and it's one thing that I'm looking forward to with the Fantastic League of Wrestling, because it's entertainment for everybody. You know, the family friendly atmosphere that is going to allow people to, you know, like me, you know, wanting to share it with my son. Like obviously he's not going to be old enough to get, you know, everything going on right now.
Of course, yeah.
But, you know, eventually getting to share that with my son, and not like, yes, I love everything from the death match style to, you know, some of the, you know, I don't hold back on my language, so I enjoy seeing that in a lot of my wrestling. But with my kid, I'm not going to want to, you know, have him eventually going to school and then repeating some of that stuff.
I get it.
So, you know, having that atmosphere where I can feel comfortable bringing my son in there is just going to, I'm smiling just thinking about it.
Of course.
So, all right, I have two categories here that I like to kind of round stuff off with. But actually, you know what? I just remembered something. Because I saw a video recently, just like, might have been just this morning, actually, of you delivering a choke slam. And I'm like, watching that, I'm like, that is one of the most, it was a beautiful thing seeing like a big hoss of a guy delivering just a clean ass choke slam like that. I was like, that's freaking awesome. And I gravitate towards those intense things, and that just looked intense. I'm like, oh, I love it.
Thanks, brother. That was that was my opponent, David Colon, the other day at Wrestle League Beats and Brawl in Chicago. So
nice.
Yeah.
Now, all right. Now, on to those categories. The first one I have is what I call a bit of a name game, where I name off some people and give me quick thoughts on them.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
Us being from the Midwest, each of these guys famous from the Midwest, and, you know, obviously Chicago and Nebraska, we got a large range here. So these ones, some of my favorites anyways.
Cool.
First one, you kind of talked about him a little bit towards the beginning there, but me being the fan of tag team wrestling I am, I have to bring up these guys, the Road Warriors.
Just what I think.
Yeah.
Innovated, but very much snugged in the ring. They will always be remembered as being brutes in the ring, just big piles of muscle, and just they introduced face paint. So I think they innovated the tag team division in that. As more as I get older and everything like that, I will always like anytime if a Road Warrior match is on, I would just pop and everything like that. I don't think anyone else would ever get something called themselves a Road Warrior pop. So I give them that, but I've heard numerous times that they were very, very snugged in the ring too.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that, and talking about after parties and delivering finishing moves at these, and somebody taking a doomsday device, and it's like, oh God, why?
Yeah, we don't do that anymore in the after parties.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been I got some memories on some after parties with wrestling, including the first time I ever got to be special guest ring announcer. The after party involved, some of the talent that was there. Warhorse was there, and the lady that is now Ruby Soho.
Oh, nice, cool, yeah.
And all I remember, because don't remember a lot after a while, was last thing I remembered was they had karaoke there, and like I have to have some liquid encouragement to get up there, because as much as talking with you here, singing in front of a bunch of people is a whole nother thing for me.
What did you sing?
Well, the story behind it, it originally wasn't my song up there, but I kind of recognized it, and then all of a sudden I start walking up to kind of see the lyrics, and like, and then before I know it, somebody's shoving one of the microphones in my face, and I'm drunkenly singing she fucking hates me from Puddle of Mud.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah. Stories.
Yeah.
Now, another guy Midwest here that I'll admit some of my qualms that I had with him have been more pre-wrestling career.
Yeah.
Randy Orton.
I honestly think he is one of the greatest of all time.
I in-ring career, I can't take that away from him. He has this ability.
I think he is the one. A lot of people are thinking Cena is going to beat Flair's record. I honestly can see Orton beat Flair's record.
Yeah, he seems to have a little more in the tank than Cena, because he's already said this coming WrestleMania is his last one.
Yeah. I just think if you look at the story arc of Randy Orton from being like, if you remember Randy Orton, the Randy Orton news, and then from him being the like evolution to like Legend Killer to like Apex Predator. The only thing I have to downgrade on Orton though is I hate his theme song. But that's just me. I always think a wrestler theme song you can like a wrestler theme song goes a long way with like a wrestler. That's why I feel like I want the best. But like I just think with that song, I mean, like it's just I don't know. It's just the weirdness of wrestling with like weird theme songs like that. I liked the Burning Light one. I thought that was dope. But like the voices in my head, they talk to me. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. My whole thing, like I said, with him was pre wrestling, when me being veteran and seeing how he got himself taken out of the Marines, I was like, for the longest time, I was soured on him with that because,
well,
like,
isn't that the reason why they didn't the Marines protest when they found out that he was cast in the Marine? That they're like, hey, we don't want that guy to represent us.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah.
That actually happened while I was actually still in the Navy, found out about all that, and then I forget which Marine it was, but one of them, they actually sent the guy to the exchange on base to sign the DVDs and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But yeah, I do remember that specifically. And just thinking that there were ways that you could get yourself out of your enlistment without having to do everything that he had done. But then it's like, you know what? He's making stuff better for his family, himself. I see the interactions he has with different fans at different places. And then obviously his in-ring work, I'm like, he's okay in my book now.
I think what it is with, and you can go back to another name when we do this. My thing is this: the guys that are up top are like celebrities. They're on the road constantly. I get it why a fan wants to catch them in the airport and wants a photo with them.
Oh God, yeah, that.
But if you see them really tired, just let them be.
Okay. I actually have a story on that at not at the airport. It was actually at Disney World, actually. This guy isn't in the category, but I remember specifically being on my way out of the park, and I had to bend down for some reason, pick something up, tie my shoe. I don't remember. But I remember come on my way up, all of a sudden I see this very distinct T-Rex skull tattoo on the guy's shoulder. And I look further up and I'm like, holy shit, that's Kevin Owens. But I would like every part in me wanted to, just go up and at least say hello. But then I looked and I'm like, oh, damn, he's with his family. I'm not going to mess up that because knowing Disney World, one guy brings in the attention to the guy, then it's going to be a whole crowd of people. I'm like, you know what? I know I saw him. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I will admit to running up to my wife and being like, oh my God, you will not.
Yeah, of course. That's fine to do that. But I'm just saying, but if you could see that they have lives outside of wrestling, if they are in the airport and everything like that.
Yeah.
And just let them be. Like, they're tired as hell.
Oh,
if they're with their family, they're with their family. Like, just let them be, and then everything will be fine,
For sure. Next guy here, a guy I conveniently actually brought up to somebody last night in an episode I recorded. Otis.
Oh, my opinion, we were talking about Chris Farley. That's Chris Farley in a nutshell, man.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh my God. I think that guy is so entertaining, so phenomenally talented for being a big guy. He's actually one of my favorites to watch.
Oh, yeah, I love watching him.
I wish he had more of an opportunity, but he has a job, man. I mean, he has the job to entertain. Like, when he won Money in the Bank, I legit thought he was going to win the world heavyweight title. I was like, holy crap. But, like, dude's super talented, the whole, oh yeah,
the stuff he's doing with Tozawa.
Yeah, he's having fun.
Oh, yeah. You can tell he's having fun.
Yeah.
I haven't got to meet Otis, but I have got to meet Tozawa once.
Nice. Cool.
That was fun. That was actually the first promotion I ever went to for an independent show. He was still more centered in Dragon Gate over there in Japan at the time.
Nice.
So that was fun. Now, all right. Next up, a guy, going from big guy in Otis to significantly smaller but still entertaining as hell, Hornswoggle.
For the time that he's had, I think he's super entertaining. I know that he's based in Wisconsin and everything like that, but
yeah,
I've always enjoyed his bit. I actually, I got this past summer, I got to wrestle Eric Smalls from the NWA. That's one of my favorite moments in wrestling, and it was really cool to work that dude and everything like that. So,
oh yeah, I got reintroduced to him through, I got stuff displayed behind me here, but different toy hunt vlogs with like Ethan Page or the Major Wrestling Figure podcast guys, Matt Cardona and those guys.
Yeah.
Seeing him with them, and I'm like, I guess I hadn't been as familiar with a lot of the independent stuff that he's done. And although I do specifically remember, I think it was still Impact at the time when the Good Brothers brought him in to be an imitation of AJ Styles.
Oh, yeah.
That was epic. That was epic. All right. Now I have some random questions, some wrestling related, some not.
Yeah.
Some have nothing to do with anything we talked about so far. So first one, the one I like to lead off with here. Craziest in-match moment for you?
Craziest in-match moment for me. Let me think about that real quick. What do you define crazy?
Well, it can be anything from crazy, like you're just in the ring with, somebody that you never thought you'd be in the ring with, and you're like, holy shit, this is crazy. Or crazy, like a crazy moment, like somebody, oh God, moments that come to mind, like if you think back to the original ECW with like Taz and Bam Bam, where they like end up going through the ring or some wacky thing like that.
So I once did a moniker called Loverboy Tyrese Tang before I was Mr. Made for TV, Tully Bertorelli. Loverboy used to wear a wig that always got popped up in the middle of the match. And I was wrestling my mentor at the time, and it was in Indiana. And I remember before the show, this old guard was introducing himself and everything like that. And part of our match, we decided that we were going to rip my tights and make it a wedgie and throw it out in the crowd. And it was super fun, super entertaining. The wig popped off. After the match, that old guard guy came in the back and was looking for us. He's like, hey, where's the big guy and where's the guy with the wig? And like, oh, they're in the cooler. So we're in the cooler, and this guy's like, hey, how long you been doing this for? I'm like, only a couple of years, man. He's like, that match was pretty old school, man. And I'm like, oh, thank you, sir. He's like, I used to wrestle for World Class Championship Wrestling. And I'm like, oh, shit. What's your name? He's like, oh, my name's Eli. I'm like, you're Eli the Eliminator who tagged with, wait, you? And he saw my Brody tattoo. He's like, that's my old tag partner on your arm. And I was like, holy shit.
That is pretty fucking cool. Wow.
So that was like the craziest moment of my career, was having a guy who wrestled for the Von Erichs compliment my match, said it was old school, and then I just shoot the shit with him the rest of the night about like world class.
That is awesome. Thinking of Brody, goddamn. I remember growing up, when I was born, I think when I started to really be able to understand what I was watching, it was like right towards the end of before the tragedy happened with him. But I remember seeing some entrances. I'm like, the little kid in me, that guy scared the crap out of me.
Oh yeah.
But now, like I said, I love those intense personas. So when I watched that stuff back, I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is a favorite of mine. And, crazy moment that actually kind of involves Brody there. Somebody I've had on goes to Puerto Rico every once in a while. He told me a story of when he wore a shirt out to the ring that said both in English and in Spanish, "Justice for Brody." And my jaw dropped because I'm like, knowing the history behind all of that,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
of course, man.
oh, goddamn. And he said that somebody from the crowd had contacted the promoter and said, if you ever bring that guy back, that guy's not making it home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. I'm not trying to be offensive to any Puerto Ricans out there that might end up listening, but that sounds like everything that I've heard of some of the crowds out there. Very passionate, very intense.
Oh, I've
people.
never wrestled. I haven't wrestled in Puerto Rico yet, but I hear they throw piss in they throw piss cups. So be prepared for that. So.
Oh yeah, nope. I've definitely heard of that.
Yeah.
Won't really be able to get away with that here in the States.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I've discussed this with a few people recently with, just having passed the most recent Royal Rumble. Favorite Royal Rumble moment of yours?
Forgot who eliminated him, but when Santino came out.
Oh yeah. That one of those quick eliminations, yeah.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed the quick eliminations and stuff like that.
Like the ones with him and I forget which one of the Bushwhackers. Those are two of my favorite quick eliminations.
I've liked that one. I've liked when Mr. Perfect came back in 2002.
That was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was always cool. I had people. So a lot of people asked me what I think of the Rumble this time around. I was for Cena, but I like the more I get along with it, I'm like, I'm happy it was Jay because Jay's that fresh face. I mean, when you call yourself main event Jay Uso, you should be the main event of the company.
Yeah, it's very true. I know my jaw dropped when that ended up happening. I'm like, again, I didn't expect him to win it, but hey.
I thought this was a great Rumble, though, overall.
Oh, yeah. Like, I remember practically jumping off my couch when I heard Joe Hendry's music play.
Yeah.
And then thinking back, one of my I actually just not all that long ago got to rewatch this moment. I forget what year it was, but the thing was Andre the Giant had eliminated Jake the Snake. Jake comes back with the snake, scares Andre out of the ring, over the top, eliminating himself. I don't know. Something about that moment right there just seemed wacky to me, and I loved it. So, again, favorite moment of mine. Now, okay, my wife gives me crap about this when we go to different restaurants because I have my favorite foods and some of the places we go to. That's all I'll get from there. Favorite food of yours?
Oh man, I'm a weirdo, man. Love my sushi, love my oysters. I like a good New York strip. I love barbecue food. I'm a foodie, man. I love any kind of food.
Oh yeah. No, I know for me, I have okay, we go to different Italian places and my wife's like, yes, they got lasagna. So I'll be looking through trying to figure out what to eat. Or if we go to Olive Garden, you don't even need to look at the menu. You know what you're getting.
Yeah, but you want to see what's out there,
Yeah, well, that's why I look. Or when we go, we got a pretty great steakhouse, half an hour from.
Well, you're in the Mecca, dude. Fucking Omaha's. I still have not had an Omaha steak yet. But I hear
there's places out Omaha Steaks is great. But we got one place called Around the Bend that's like half an hour from me. That I could. Oh man, I love getting the ribeye there, and oh my god, like one of the few places that I go and get a steak that I feel like I don't have to have steak sauce on it.
Yeah,
because it's that good with or without it. Hell, I'm actually taking my.
What's your go-to steak sauce?
Oh God, I can be kind of very basic. A1, I'm fine.
Okay, I was about to say because I'm British and everything like that. If you said A1, we're on the same page.
That or Around the Bend's got this one that's made local to here that it's got this hint of spiciness to it that's not like overpowering.
Yeah,
but like I'll put a little on there. But yeah,
I also like cowboy butter on my steak. You ever had cowboy butter?
I don't think I have, but it sounds like it would be delicious.
Cowboy butter, you can look up the recipe. Everyone makes it differently, but you mix butter with garlic and shallots and all that stuff and olive oil. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be good.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've gotten better at making them myself, but I found these different marinades that I'd love to, I love to experiment with them, but I found my favorite ones as like, okay, I'm going to be making steaks. I know this, I want to use this.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Alrighty. Now, I guess kind of going on the opposite end of their least favorite.
Oh. Can't say I had the least favorite, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not exactly a picky eater myself. Like, I have...
Oh, you said food?
Yeah, food.
Oh, I thought you said opponents. My bad. My dad used to make this like cilantro curry once that was super sweet. That was just really weird.
Yeah, that sounds different.
Yeah. I do like cilantro, but like when you mix like cilantro curry together, it just tasted weird.
Yeah, that definitely. My family gives me crap about both of mine. One of them being deviled eggs. Like the one time they got me to try them, I about like like legit. And then now every time they have them, they're like, "Hey, try this." I'm like, "Get that away from me." That or peas by themselves. Like if they're mixed in like a chicken pot pie or something.
Wow, what's everyone hating peas for? The peas have protein in them, man.
When they're mixed in with like a chicken pot pie or something.
I don't care about the chicken pot pie. How can you hate peas?
I don't know.
Is it the texture thing?
I think it's a texture thing. I don't know why. I don't. I just can't. By themselves, I can't.
I fucking love peas, man. Fucking mush peas. Got it. Any kind of peas. Fucking, man. Peas are great. Especially when I meal prep with them.
Okay. Everybody's got their own taste.
You're not the only one. I know a lot of motherfuckers that hate peas, man. And I'm just like, why?
But hey, there's a lot of vegetables that before I met my wife, I just steered away from. But for some reason, the way she prepares them, I'll eat the hell out of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe peas, maybe that'd be the same way. I don't know. All right. My wife and I actually have both of these, but dog or cat person?
I grew up with cats. I would love to have a dog one day, but I grew up with cats. So I'm both.
I definitely grew up more with cats, but I've definitely had dogs as well. My wife and I got a full-grown English bulldog right now. Love him to death. He's great with our son, and it's still wild to me saying that our son, because it was this. Okay, tangent here. The same thing that Bronson Reed and his wife had to go through to have their child.
Yeah.
was what my wife and I had to do for
Okay.
ours. So, and conveniently enough, I've actually had Bronson Reed on the show.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, that was fun. All right. But yeah, I lean more towards dog person, but I love both.
I mean, dogs are like legit your best friend. Cats are like your cousin. They just stay away from you for a little bit, but once they want love and comfort, they'll give it to you.
Oh God, we got one cat that loves the shit out of me. Like literally, I'll walk into the room and he'll get up from laying down, or like if I'm laying down, he'll try to crawl up on top of me and use my beard as a pillow.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's weird because it wasn't even my idea to get him. It's weird. All right. Now, I preface this because I always say, I brought it up to you, just because it says drinking at Moe's doesn't mean that it has to be alcoholic. Favorite drink? Because I know you've been sober for, it was 5 years?
5 years, 1 month. Well, almost 5 years and soon to be 2 months.
Nice. That is awesome.
Thank you. No, my favorite drink of choice is probably, I have a bunch, but if I have to put not in order, like I love Liquid Death products. I saw you're drinking Dr. Pepper. I'm a big fan of that. Been trying to find the coconut cream one, but you can't find that in the stores.
Yeah, it was weird. I can't find it pretty much anywhere now, but I had a weird experience with it. Like I had the 20-ounce bottle, and then I was like not tasting the coconut in it.
Yeah.
But the moment I had it in a can, it was like, okay, I definitely taste it now.
Yeah, I love novelty sodas, so I like Moxie. I love root beer. It's funny. I always explain to people when you become sober, like pop is like a thing now, so we don't call it soda, but like Moxie, root beer, like Bard's root beer is one of my favorites. But yeah, Liquid Death. I would love to get sponsored by them. So if they're listening, sponsor me. I go through so many Liquid Death lime like crazy. And then also I just like sparkling water,
I can't say I've had too much sparkling water lately.
Yeah. In the UK they call it mineral water.
I was gonna say, because I've been to Greece and Italy before, and I know a lot of mineral water over there. Yeah. So yeah, Dr. Pepper. I mean, talking about Liquid Death, with sponsor. Hey, Dr. Pepper. Hey. Long shot, but hey, let's see if it sticks. All right. Yeah, no, that's definitely mine. Like I have, I do drink, yes, and my absolute favorite, Stone Cold's Broken Skull American Lager.
Nice. How's it compared to like the other lagers of American? Like, is it a better Bud Light?
Much better.
So like my thing is this is like when I was becoming sober, everybody started coming out with their own beer. So I still haven't had real American beer. I still haven't had the Stone Cold beer or anything like that. But everyone I talk to, they like the Stone Cold beer over the real American beer.
Oh God, by far.
Yeah.
By far. Wow, I don't know what the hell happened upstairs. Anyways, to finish off this category, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling?
Trust the process and enjoy the journey.
That is because, yeah,
it's a journey. It's not a race. It's a marathon.
Yeah. Everybody gets, obviously lots of people have the goals of, WrestleMania. Not everybody is going to get there at the same pace, if at all. You just got to. And
everyone's career is different, man. You might, I've been doing this on and off for many years, but like my goal with it now is just to make more memories than ever, That's why I like going into these small towns and traveling the world and stuff like that. And I also act professionally too. So I like to make a living as an actor.
Oh,
with TV, films, and commercials. But just trust the process and enjoy the journey. It's what I remind myself every day when I wake up.
Oh yeah, and hell, even with the podcast, even in opportunities that I've gotten so far with it, and some that may come, you know, I'd like to someday look back and be able to share it with my boy, and watching wrestling and be like, oh man, Daddy's actually talked to that guy, or Daddy knows that guy, and
that guy owes Daddy $2.
I mean, maybe, who knows? But getting to I've said it, and I get a little choked up talking about it. I just want to be be that guy that my boy can look back whenever I'm long gone and just be like, that was my daddy.
He will.
Oh yeah, I would like to.
He will, man.
I would like to think so. Is it to get personal, but we've had a friend of my wife's suddenly passed away recently, and my grandmother on my dad's side entered hospice last week because she's her cancer came back in stage 4, and she decided not to fight it. So it's been a lot of those thoughts about whenever your time comes, sort of moments.
Just precious every moment, man.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Just precious every moment with him, Mo. Every day that you're alive, just be thankful every minute, every second, every day.
Oh yeah. That's why since he's been born, I'm limiting recordings to like no more than 3 in a week. Because I'm like, I'm gonna maximize the amount of time I get with him.
Of course, man. Yeah.
All right. Well,
and then when he's old enough, you guys do a co-host show.
You know what? One day that would make me so damn happy. For sure. All right. Well, before we go, where can people find you social media wise?
They can find me at Tully Bertorelli on Instagram. I do have a TikTok. I believe it's at Tully Bertorelli as well. The icon is me with a bat symbol with my face on it on the TikTok. So if they see that, but I do not accept anyone from Facebook on social media. It's a personal Facebook. So if you do find me on Facebook, don't add me. I have a private life.
Instagram and TikTok. We will stick with that, and we will get both in the description because I can understand, you have, you try to keep stuff as separate as you can because, you want to still be getting yourself out there, but you don't want yourself out there. Yeah. Without your personal stuff.
And I like to plug in Weekend Deadaway. It's available on Tubi. So if you all watch Tubi, which is for free, you can watch the movie Weekend Deadaway. That's Weekend Deadaway, which is a play on, getaway, but Deadaway.
Yeah.
It is on Tubi. You can watch that, starring Madman Fulton and myself. So
definitely plug that. But yeah, thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. Best of luck out there with the upcoming season of Fantastic League of Wrestling. I look forward to seeing what all comes there and everything else coming for you in the wide world of professional wrestling.
Thanks, Mo.
Now this issue with this fucking button.